Hello. So today we're going to be taking a look at what are probably the most hated FNAF plushies to ever exist. These plushies could have been hated for low quality. It doesn't look like the character. There's a bunch of reasons you could think of, and I'm just going to go through each one and say why I think they were hated. And I remember some of these did come out when actually a lot of these came out when I was into FNAF plushies, because I've been in it for like 6 years now, so I do remember what most people brought up as for not liking them, but we're going to go through them today, and if you like the plushies, that's fine, but these are what my opinions are, and what other people's opinions were when they came out. Alright, let's take a look. So let's start off with it's not really a recent one, but it came out like 2021, I think, something like that, so I guess it counts. We have Vanny. This plushie, I remember this plush was absolutely hated, and I get why. These plushies came out before Security Breach even released, I think like a year before it released, actually. At the time, we didn't know how little of a character she was, so she was looking to be the main villain of Security Breach, and this being the plush to represent her was like, it was very disappointing, because this is the villain, and we got this. I think the reason people didn't really like this plushie to begin with was, well, first, the eyes she looks very sad. I do not know what they were thinking when it came to this. There's not really any... I like the different colors that are sewn into here, but they don't really represent what the character, or like, it doesn't really represent the fact that it's a costume. It just kind of, there's not really any stitch marks or anything to represent that, and it's kind of cool though. There's not any printed stuff. Well, actually, there is some printing right here on the ears, but I think with Vanny, it was kind of deserved. The plushie does not, it doesn't really look like Vanny, and even the jumbo version, I do have a jumbo version, hold on. Okay, it's been quite a while since I've actually gotten one of the Vanny plushies off the shelf, but you can see it right here. This is the spring color Vanny plush here. I'll move the camera up. And the thing that they changed is really weird. They went from the very super sad expression to mad eyes. I don't know why. I don't know what this was supposed to fix. I have no idea, but she's probably one of the most hated plushies just because she doesn't look like the character. So I think it's kind of deserved, but at least the plushie wasn't horrible. It wasn't soft though, because the original Security Breach plushies were awful. Like, I don't know why they thought that material was a good idea, but it was horrible. They should have never gone with it. It does not feel soft at all. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Also, I don't have a mic for this video. I was going to use a microphone so my voice could kind of pick up better, but I cannot find the connector to connect it to what I'm filming on, so we're going to just go with this. The next FNAF plush was a bit of a mixed bag. It's really dependent on who you were talking to when it came to who hated the plushie. It was not just Twisted Freddy, but like all the Twisted One plushies got a lot of hate, and it was because of how cheap they were. Because this was around the time when they started doing printing on stuff. I think this was Wave 5, so it was very recent, because Wave 3 was when they started doing printing with the sister location plushies, and, it's like all in showcase here, but I don't hate the Twisted One plushies. They're pretty much just an okay plush. I think they, if you're not looking at the books, and how they look in the book, because it's based off a book, if you're not looking at that, it's okay, but yeah, the wave was just okay for me. I think what people were I think people were kind of just not really liking the printing that was going on with it, because it looks pretty cheap, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a claw machine plush, but even then, there was one plush in this wave that was extremely hated. There was one that was loved. Everybody loved Theodore. I wish I had Theodore, but I don't have him. But everybody hated Stanley. Stanley was the... I don't have Stanley, but that was probably the most hated plush in this wave. Probably in the Fnaf plush entirety, really. Everybody was complaining about it. Nobody likes Stanley. I've seen listings for him for really cheap because nobody cared. I still have yet to get my hands on Stanley, but I mean, it was a hated plush. I've seen the image for Stanley. I've seen the plush and the image. The Stanley plush does not look good. It does not look good. This is the first time where I completely agree with people hating on a Fnaf plush, because it looks awful. It really was just not a good plush. Again, if you like the plush, that's okay, but for me, I agree with everybody when they said they hated it. It was awful. It was really bad. Do I still want it, though? Yeah, just for collecting sake, but that's about it. Okay, so this is going to be one of the longer parts of the video, because we actually have a lot to talk about for this one. A lot of you probably know these. You probably have these plushies because they were just so common everywhere. It's the blacklight plushies. This was the first blacklight plush wave. It was a normal one that reacts to blacklight. I've actually tested it. It does glow in blacklight, and I really like them. I use them a lot for background characters whenever I have a blacklight in videos, and they were kind of lazy, and like I said, our standards were a lot higher at the time, because this was wave 4, I think, so, I mean, yeah, I get why people complain. I personally don't hate these plushies. I think they look good. Their color schemes look really good. And I think that's, like, the saving part of them all, like, the saving grace of a lot of them, and the biggest part for me is these were cheaper. These are cheaper, at least. I don't know if they were cheaper back then, but they're cheaper than the normal plushies from what I've found. So if you want one of these, or if you need a Freddy, a Bonnie, Chica, or Foxy, just temporarily, you don't need the official, or like the normal plush, then this is a good alternative. And then they introduced, let me get it here, they introduced the Spring Color Wave. This was the next thing we had. This was it was for Easter. I don't know how it relates to Easter, we just go with it. But as you can see, this wave was just, again, recolors. It was just reusing plushies. We weren't technically getting new plushies, so... But I do think that these plushies were easy to make for Funko, and, you know, just take the plushie, make them a little bit different, because Good Stuff did it as well. They also did it, so... I mean, it must have been easy to do, because, you know, I mean, that's just what happens. And then we also got the tie-dye series, which a lot of people didn't like either, because it was reusing stuff. This is the only one I don't really agree with, because the tie-dye plushies are actually just better versions of the normal Wave 1 plushies. But when it comes to the last Blacklight wave we've had, it was the Blacklight Glam Rock plushies. I don't know. They're a little bit different. They actually utilize, like, they don't have solid colors. They have, like, a bunch of different colors. And I think that's pretty cool, but, I mean, then again, they're kind of just there. I don't hate Blacklight plushies. I don't think they're the best things ever, but I don't hate them. I think they're pretty good for what they are. And there's a ton of them. I have a ton of them. They're probably the biggest part of my FNAF plush collection. Besides FNAF AR, there's a lot of plushies they made for that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, because this one not everybody hated. This one wasn't, like, very big, but it was the circus plushies. Funko made their own characters and they had nothing to do with the series, and yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't really hate this wave, but it wasn't anything, you know, that much. It was just kind of there. They just kind of made it. I kind of forgot about them. They're just kind of forgetful for me. I don't hate them, but I don't really care for them either. Just kind of there. Okay, these next two are pretty much what I'm pretty sure are the first hated plushies that came out. These were the first that had ever gotten hate from you know, at all. And these two plushies, I'll go through them one by one. We'll start with this one because it's Toy Bonnie. this isn't an official Toy Bonnie plush, if you couldn't tell. This is a bootleg, but the thing about this one, or not this bootleg, but the plush, is it was hated. It was probably the first really, really hated FNAF plush. Nobody was happy with it. Everybody hated it. It was... I mean, this is actually a pretty good representation of it, I'm not gonna lie. But, like, it was not good. Nobody liked it, and it's... I mean, this plush literally defined how Toy Bonnie is represented through FNAF plush videos and stuff. Like, this plush and how it looks is its representation. It's... I mean, Toy Bonnie in my videos is kind of an example of this. This plush is... Toy Bonnie in FNAF plush media is always used for either the... like, the not smart character, not really a good role. Like, he's never had a role that's considered a smart or good role. He's just kind of there. And it's the same with my series. It's just, I mean, he's defined... This plush has just defined Toy Bonnie's character in the FNAF plush community. I don't really like the plush either. I think it was good quality. It's just the design was not that good. Really, it was the face. Everything else was good. It was just the face. The face was not made well. But, I mean, that's the past. So let's go further into the past with our final most hated plushie. This is probably the most well-known. And... I mean, at the time, it was hated because our standards were... This is a Wave 1 plushie, and the standards were high. So, this plush was only really, like, hated during Wave 1, and that was basically it, because we started to get worse and worse, and it's the Chica plush. I mean, this is a little bit better than how it used to be. They have made it a little bit better because they've re-released this a couple times. I don't actually, that tag is not in good condition, so I don't know what date this one is, but I at least know that this plush is not the 2016 version. But it is I mean, it's still a plush at the end of the day. It's still a plush that has its issues, but the thing about this plush is it's not that bad. This is probably the best video, or the best plush in this entire video. And I know I'm saving it for last here, but I mean, think if you remember this plush and how hated it was when it came out, then you have nostalgia from 2016, because this plush was absolutely hated. It was mainly these eyebrows. I remember these were the things that people talked about the most, because she looks angry. I still don't know why they made her angry to this day, because you gotta think, this isn't a manufacturing error, because all the Chica plushies look like this. This is part of the plush. I don't know why this was decided. I don't get it. And this is the only bad part I really have with this plushie, besides the fact that there's, like, not a ring around the bib. Like, it's just attached to her neck. That kind of doesn't make sense, but that doesn't bother me too much. And this part kind of bothers me, because these are starting to get damaged, because they're not very well put together. These little feathers right here. But really, it's only the eyebrows. I think this plush is just it's pretty good. It's really good, actually. It's a really good plush. It's just those eyebrows are not sewn in, they're not sewn in a way that I think represents Chica. I think if they just made the eyebrows not that, then this plush would still be good to this day. I just think it's really interesting how with plushies we get from Chica to something like Vanny, and how the worst plushies really have changed over time, because Funko just did not... They didn't really get better with a lot of the plushies. To be fair, when we started getting into the end of their license, yes, they did get a bit better, I think. Sun and Moon were very good, but the fact that there is a ton of plushies, I could say, that are probably hated by the community is just part of the FNAF plush issue. And I think that's why a lot of people moved to action figures for FNAF, because they're just a lot better. I hope you had a nostalgic run through this while we showed all the plushies people hated back in the day. if there's any FNAF plushies that you hated that I might have missed, you can let me know down below if you want. I mean, that's I don't. That's the end of the video. I've never ended a video in a good way. All right, and we keep the trend going today. All right, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.